Hey guys, I'm back, obviously, for another YouTube video, because I haven't done one in a while, and there's a few reasons for that. Reason number one is I was homeless, so I was going from house to house to house within, like, 3 or so years, 2 years. Um, and so I was going from house to house to house, and I was in school at the time, and so I was really struggling, because it was like, I wasn't being able to focus on my classwork, and so I was dropping majorly, and so got to the point where if I wasn't able to study or focus in class, I was skipping a lot. And I know it's not really a valid excuse for it, because, there's a lot of other excuses, like, you could have gotten help or something, where I did get help, and I was put into this. It wasn't a foster home, because I refused foster homes, and there's a good reason for that. Very good reason for that, and I don't believe in them at all. But they put me in this it was a teenager program, and it was a homeless shelter. And I went there, and I was there for about, like, a few weeks, maybe, not even 2 weeks at most, probably. It's either 2 or 3 weeks I was there. And I hated it, because I didn't have freedom. I wasn't able to go around and say what I wanted or anything. I was just there. I had rules I had to follow, and because of us being, all the way up from, like, 15 all the way up to 18, well, 17, I was 15, so I wasn't really, there was a lot that I was like, I don't want. I had to ask for everything, and then I also, if I didn't do anything or I broke one of the rules, I got a consequence. And it doesn't sound stupid, but when you're a teenager and you've basically, know what the right and wrong is, these little punishments were really, really stupid, and it was like, I didn't even know what to do. I didn't know, because it was literally, like, the stupidest thing. I got in trouble for complimenting a girl on her looks. And so I refused to do the consequence, because there's no reason for me to do it. And their reasoning that I was in trouble was because of personal space. And I said personal space is more of a physical thing, and there's a boundary. I'm like, I was grown up with a thing called common sense, which is obviously something you don't have. And it was a compliment. And, and I realized with me being 15, I shouldn't have said, obviously you weren't raised with. But it wasn't harming anyone in any way, shape, or form. It wasn't like I was looking at them constantly every day and complimenting them every day. It wasn't that I looked at them and said, "Oh yeah, you're really fucking hot." No, I didn't say that. All I said was, you look really pretty today." And she did. She looked really pretty. And so, you know, and so after I got out of there, I started living with a friend in Salem, where I lived, and I lived there for about, like, a few months or so, and then I got a teacher saying, "Hey, we can really, really help you get on your feet." So what happened was, I went in and I told her, I'm like, "This is really appreciated, and I'll give it a try." Granted, I was entirely freaking scared, because I didn't know what the hell to do. There was a teacher there. I didn't know if I was allowed to curse. I didn't know if I was allowed to do this. I literally thought I was going to be in the same house with the same rules of the school, because I never thought of anything. She really changed my mind about how teachers are inside of school and what teachers aren't outside of school. Because inside of school, when you're a teacher, you have to act more mature. You have to act, by strict rules. When she came home, she was like a kid. She would, like, frail out over the floor. She'd make big deals over little things. But it wasn't like she was meaning to do it. I mean, it was really cool. It literally was like I was living with another teenager, but when I went to school, it was like she became my mother. Like, that was the difference. But I just wasn't feeling like I was getting what I needed there, so I left and went to my other friend that I went to my school with, and I went to her house and I lived with her for a little bit, and then my mom was with a dude at the time, and he wanted her to live in Idaho with her. And my mom would refuse to move me because she already made a promise that she broke and was killing her. So she was like, I'm not going to make her move. It's going to be her word if she wants to stay here or go with us. The reason why is because she didn't want me to fail behind in school. She didn't want me to become like a super senior or something. She just didn't want that possibility. So I told her I was just going to stay there. And so she goes behind my back when I told her I'm completely fine where I'm at. And she goes to this woman who has been in my life for a long time. She's been there since I was like 2. I'm not going to say her name because, that's just respect on that end. And when I first moved in, I thought it was going to be fine. And then by like the first month, I got in trouble, and then I got my phone taken, and I got everything. I got every single bit of pride and whatnot I had left in me that I had stripped from me completely. And it's not that I'm a bad kid, and I know I'm not a bad kid because everyone tells me how good I'm doing and what I need to focus on. She did the complete opposite. Instead of pointing out my goods of what I did, she'd point out what I wasn't doing or what I wasn't doing enough of. So instead of making me feel better about myself and saying, yes, I'll fix it, she broke me down as if saying, if I step one more move, just all of these bad things will happen. Like, it was walking on eggshells. That is exactly what, it wasn't even eggshells. It was, I want to say Legos, because I have a feeling Legos or, like, glass has more of a feeling than just eggshells. But it was like, it wasn't fragile. Like, if you stepped on it, it would break. I mean, it would step on it, and as soon as you step on it, it wouldn't break more. It would just hurt. And the next time you step, if another piece of glass or whatnot breaks, it literally was like 2 times worse, or just 12,000 times worse than what it was previously. Then I was just really going really down. Like, even at the other school, because she took me out of that school that I went to and put me in another one because my friends were bad influences on me. And these people are the ones who told me to go out there and reach help. Some of them even reported behind my back when I was getting into depressed states and I was losing my mind just about. All of them had put a little bit of their personality in me to get me to where I'm at least at today. And right now I'm with people who are just absolutely amazing, and they're just really amazing people. And on top of that, it was just, I had all of them help me. And so when she said that, it was like, you don't even know them. You can't blame people. You can't even judge them before you get to know them. I mean, the only time I judge someone is when they're going around, walking down the street screaming at themselves, and they're carrying a bunch of stuff and no one's with them. That's the only time I judge, but it's not a bad judge. It's more of like, that's just sad, because it's sad. And so I'm, that's where my judging is, but I don't say they're useless, they're this, they're that. She was just different in a way that I don't even understand how to go on about it. So after she told me I can no longer see my friends, she moved me schools and took my phone away. So I had no contact with my friends whatsoever until I met one of my other friends. But while I met my other friend, I was getting to know him more. And every day I was really happy because he would make me laugh and make me feel like a normal kid in school. That when I would go back and I would say, hey, I met friends at my new school. And then I literally got shot down saying, I put you in there so you can learn and not have friends. I didn't put you in there for friends. And my heart shattered. I was like, what? Because I'm normally not a sociable person, as in I don't like talking to people. I would be like, yeah, I want to talk to them, but I won't go up grudgingly and say hi. Now, if you're already around and people are talking to you and you're being there for a while, I might come up and say hi and talk to you or whatnot and be, whatnot. But if it's just a random stranger and we're walking around in town, or, they're at the park and they're feeling upset, it's not like I'm going to go up to them and go, hey, are you all right? I'm going to be more like, do you need anything at all? Like, I would offer something that I had enough to share. So I just felt like my whole life was being reformed, and it was just not understanding to me. because they started going back to when I was like a little kid. And I'm like, I don't remember half the stuff I did as a little kid. I was a little kid. I mean, but, so after that, she started getting more and more strict. Like, she wasn't part of my family at all. But she had a son that was because of my uncle. But I'm not related to this woman in any way, shape, or form. So, my grandma comes down, because she lived in Washington. Now she lives somewhere in Portland area. She lived in Washington, and she used to come down and visit us a lot. And when she did, she'd always spoil me, because I'm the granddaughter. You know, with grandparents, they always spoil your granddaughter. Even grandkids, they spoil all the grandkids. You go to... Sorry, my mom's right there, so... Anyway, but, like, it was just, you know... So my grandma bought me a little goodie bag. Like, she went to Safeway, and she had me pick out the things that I wanted. And she put them in a goodie bag, and she handed them to me, and she goes, "That's for you." And I was like, okay. So I go home, and I don't even sneak around, okay? Because I had no shelves, no dressers, no room. I had no privacy. No privacy at all. The only privacy I had was in the shower, and that almost got taken from me. But, so, when you walked into the house, you just saw these totes there, and they were my totes. And so the first thing I do is I grab that bag, I walk in, and I place it right at the top of my bag, my buckets, which are there so everyone can see. And so I put that there, and then I had a pie that because we were at this family event, and this was one of the pies left over. So I took the pies, and I put the pie anyway, and I put it in the kitchen, and I told them, hey, there's pie in there that I got from, you know, and they're like, okay. By, like, the second day, I grab a soda that my grandma had given me in there, and I started drinking it, and she goes off saying, well, where'd you get that? And I said, I have a goodie bag that Grandma gave for me. And she starts going off saying that I lied to her, I didn't tell her the truth. Basically, same thing as lying, yeah. She would repeat herself multiple times in different ways. And then she would be like, I'm sneaking it around the house. And the day before that, I literally had 2 bags of candies, like good-sized candy bags, and I didn't even have them myself. I shared them with everyone. I shared them with her. I shared them with her husband, her kids, my cousin, their friends, the neighbors. I shared with everyone that was there. And then she starts going off on me the next day. And so it was bad. And then when I got to school and I explained it to my friend, he looked at me and goes, she's kind of crazy. That's what it sounds like. And so what happened was I got a hold of his phone, and I made another Facebook, and I got a hold of my friend, well, my friend that I'm living with now. I got a hold of her, and I told her what was going on, but I told her in person, because I didn't want to get accused that I was lying again. And so the first time I met her, I almost ran into traffic when I saw her, because I really love this girl. Like, she's like my best friend. She's a sister to me, you know. And so I almost ran into traffic going after her, because I was just so happy, and I was so relieved to see her. And then my mom calls and says that she can't meet with me that day. And I said, no, please, just don't tell her no, please. And so my mom got a hold of her, and she lied to her, saying that I was with her. And I walked down to the homeless shelter she was in, and so I was at the homeless shelter for a little bit. And then she called us and said, hey, can you meet us at the park? So we walked down to the park, and my mom's just walking up a few minutes after we showed up. And so I walk up and I run up to her and I say hi, and they say they can only be there for 2 minutes. And I start freaking out, like, I don't want to leave yet. My other friend's coming, and, you know. And so I was literally scared. I was living in fear for the past, like, few months I was there. It sucked. And so it was a lot for me to deal with, and I just couldn't handle it. So what happened was what else happened was when they left, they told my cousin that I was going to be there with them, and then that they were going to text him and say, hey, we gotta go, we're gonna go for the bus, and da-da-da-da-da. And I said, okay, that works perfectly. My other friends get there, and we walk down to this really dangerous trail, and we just kind of go there to go by the water to look at the water, and we go back up, and I see the car sitting there, and I'm like, I was like, oh my god, what's going on? And so I walk over, and I hand over what was in my hand that was my friend's, and I said, here, take it, that's them right there. And they're like, is that your cousin? And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, oh, well, you're fucked. And I'm like, I know, I'll figure out something. So I go in there, and I literally tell him, please don't tell your mom. And he goes, nah, I won't, it's cool. He goes, it's fine. And so I'm like, okay. And then we get to the house, and then everything goes fine for that day. I was just really scared that, something would have been said. And so by the second time I meet them, I walk over to this restaurant with my friend and a guy that was there at the time. And we sat there for a little bit, and they were eating there, of course, and I was just kind of there. I get a call from my mom saying that she can't make it that day because she's across, whatnot. I immediately broke down in an anxiety attack. I was like, oh my god, what am I going to do? What am I going to... I was freaking out. I was stuttering. I didn't know what to do. These people, which are the current people I'm with now, they were like, you need to calm down. You're not going to live with this. You're fine. They were like, we got you. And I just made me want to cry even more because I was scared. I was terrified. Because, I got threatened to get hit. I got threatened to do all of this stuff. And that when I said that to someone, they were telling me I was lying. And they were saying that I was telling everybody else that they were hitting people. And I was like, I said I thought, and I swear, I never said, I know they're doing this. I just said, the only time I said I know what this is when I heard her, I swear to God, I heard her slap her kid. And when I did that, when I heard that, I was like, okay, and I told my friend. And they were even asking me, how do you know if it was? I'm like, because it was a hand hitting wood. If it was a hand hitting wood, it would have been not as loud or as crisp as hitting skin. And so when that went through, her family, my friend's family that I'm with now, had taken they had taken me down to see my mom, and it was my mom's birthday, and so it was the 3rd. So it was the 3rd of October, and now it is December. It's December. So that's how many months? 2.5. Yeah, 2.5 months. Yeah, 2 months and 20 days. So everything that happened with the person that used to be in my life since I was 2. That was just recently. Like, this is everything I'm going through. And so, after we go see my mom, everyone wishes her a happy birthday. We sing to her in public because she doesn't have a home to do it in. We gave her gifts. I gave her an extra blanket because I knew she was, homeless. So I gave her an extra blanket that it was mine, but I let her use and have it because she needs it more than I do. And we go back. I hang out with my mom for a little bit. And then we get right across the school, and I get told, my old school, I get told, I want you to go home with her. And I asked her why, and she goes, because I'm not having you live there anymore. She goes, I'm tired of you being there like this, and da-da-da-da. So she was calling my friend's mom and everything, and getting a hold of the lady and saying, it's not doing good. I'm just going to take her off your hands and find someone else to do it. And my mom just sent that through a text because she wasn't wanting to sit there and call and listen and fight with her. So my mom looked at me and she handed me a bus pass, and she looks at my friend and she goes, go. Be a kid. Don't live in fear. Go. So I'm getting pulled across the street from my friend because she's like, just, okay, we're going to go. We're going to go back to my house. We're going to do all this. And I'm like, okay. So, and I still don't have a phone. I have nothing on me. All I have is a backpack I had at school. I had no clothes. I had nothing. I was like thinking, what's gonna happen, you know? So, we get back to her house, and I'm freaking out because, you know, we could have been we walked there from the bus stop, so I was thinking, great, we're gonna get noticed or saw or something. No, it wasn't the case. We got back to the house, and her parents, or her mom, and these two other people left. Well, yeah, one of the other people was her other sister, and they're on the way, and they're gonna go do something. And I was like, okay. And then we started getting messages from my mom on my friend's phone and on her Facebook about everything, saying she's yelling at me, she's telling me to take her home, she's telling me to get her address or whatnot. And I called my friend's mom, and I was in tears, you know, because immediate shock, just anxiety, telling them what's going on. And they told me to give them a moment and they would call back. And so we hung up, and I guess they were talking to my mom for a little bit or something. And then my mom got a message. Then my friend got a message from the person that I was living with, saying it's through my Facebook. It's not even on her own. It was through mine. And she was like, I was told she's with you. Can you please get a hold of me at this number? I call her, and we had this all planned out. My friend and I and my other friend were going to sit there and be completely quiet. And as we're completely quiet, we're going to sit there and we're just going to act as if everything's normal. And this was all on speakerphone. And my friend that was right next to me, and it was her phone, so I said, when she calls, you pick up the phone, and if she asks for me, say, hang on one moment, and then slowly hand the phone to me, and then we'll act as if you were walking towards me. We did it. She didn't even notice. But as soon as she got me on the phone, she was completely different. She was yelling at me, being really nasty to me, but nice to everyone else. But horribly, just, she was horrible to me. And my friends are, you know, not like witnesses. They were there. They were firsthand. So when she's yelling at me, and she says, I have 5 minutes to tell her where the address was, or I'm going to get CPS called on me. So, I called them back immediately, and I was like, in tears, couldn't even talk. I was so scared, I was stuttering. My friend took the phone, tried to, you know, say everything. They said, okay, well, let me talk to Reva, because she was the one that, you know, I'm like, okay. So they started to ask me what was going on, and I said, I have 5 minutes, and she said that she needs an address, or she's calling the CPS on me. And so they weren't having it. They're like, okay, well, forward her number to me. So I forwarded her number to them, and they called her, and, you know, all of this. By, like, I guess an hour, probably half an hour passed, we get another message. We get another phone call on my friend, and they were like, and we put on speakerphone, and we're like, hello, and the voice was my cousin saying, is Reva there? And then we hear it, and I'm like, hello? And he goes, hey, Mom wants to know when you're gonna get your stuff. And I was like, what? And he goes, and he was trying to say it again, but she ripped the phone out of his hands and started screaming at me and saying that I was a really messed up child, and that I literally was like running my mouth, and that's all I ever do, and no one ever wants to be around me, so I hope you have a good rest of your life. And then she hung up. And but before she did that, she even told me that I wasn't allowed to talk to any of my actual cousin. My actual cousin, who was 19 years old, she told me I couldn't talk to him. And so I was like, that's not going to happen, because him and I are really close, and you can't just do that. So we call them, and we tell them what just happened. But by the time we're ringing, we hear them pull up in the yard. And we were in the garage at the time, so the garage door comes flying up, and we get told to go get my stuff. And I'm like, what? So I go outside, and all of my stuff's in the back of this truck. They were not taking me to go back there whatsoever. They didn't want any lure for her to go try and fight with them or call the police on them. Nothing. They went, got my stuff, and when I came back in with the rest of my stuff, they were on the phone with her, and she was acting so nice and funny, and she was laughing or whatnot. And then I sat there and I told them, "Was she mean to you?" And they're like, "Nope, she was nothing but nice to us." And I was like, I told them, I'm like, I didn't even tell them. I mean, I looked at my friend, and my friend looked at me, and we looked at them and went, "She wasn't nice to me." In fact, she was downright cold-hearted to me, like, and she told me she loved me and like all of this, and told me I was family to her, but it didn't feel like it at all. So after that, I ended up moving with them, and so far it's been really good. We're actually living with cousins right now, but we're close to being up there back on our feet, and she now has full control over me, and she is just an amazing person, and my attitude's changed so much. I haven't gone into actual, like, any anxiety attacks or anything. My schooling now is even realizing that I'm doing better, because they tried calling her, well, not her, but the person I used to live with, they tried calling her and telling me that was okay, and I broke down, and I told them they can't, because of things. But now, if they have a call about the school, she hears what they have to say, and then she asks me, and then if it's something doesn't add up, she goes into the school and chews their ass out. She's fucking amazing. They've both have showed me a lot more than just, worrying. It's more, life's too short to sit there and worry about the negatives, but it's long enough to have a lot of great moments if you choose to be a part of them. Live and learn. That's how it is, So I'm very thankful to have these guys, and I want to say revamping to a new me, but I don't want to exactly say that, but it's yeah, giving me the keys to open the doors. If I'm going down a path, instead of turning me around and going back to where I was, they just kind of show me that there's other ways to get back onto the right one. So, yeah, I mean, these people are really great, and so I'm just kind of glad that I now have a safe peace of mind that I can sit here and be able to think about when I'm going to have videos for you guys. I don't know if there's going to be one tomorrow or on Christmas Day. I still got to go through that. But if it's not going to be tomorrow or the next day, it's probably going to be the day after, the following day. Anyway, that's all I have really to say left in this video, other than that I'm back, and I'm really hoping I have better content, because this has all been shit, and I agree, but, people start somewhere. And, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys, aren't too bored with how I was reading things or anything. It's been a lot that I've dealt with. So, if you liked it, please hit that subscribe button, and just I don't know. It's up to you. You don't really have to do it, but I just kind of ask if you could, if you would like. Anyway, I'll see you guys later.